This is Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.
I shudder thinking how the world can be so cruel. I lend my voice to those who can't. It's time we try, it's time we care, it's time we stand. It starts with a voice.
Welcome back to Special Olympics 2026 USA Games, a Special Chronicles podcast series. I'm your host, Daniel Smrokowski, founder of Special Chronicles, a Special Olympics athlete leader with Team Illinois, and a former Southern Tribal Global Messenger. Today, we're spotlighting the spirit of unified champion schools and the incredible teamwork happening in Special Olympics Mississippi's Interscholastic Division of Competitive Cheer. You're about to meet Coach Erin, athlete Libby Cheney, and unified partner Marian Lynch from Special Olympics Missouri, whose energy, leadership, and commitment to inclusion show exactly what the road to the USA Games is all about. If you want to follow the athletes, including Libby and Marian and the more than 3,000 athletes on their journey to the games, download the 2026 Special Olympics USA Games app. Just search USA Games in the iPhone or Android app stores. And to follow this full podcast series and stay connected to everything leading up to and during the 2026 USA Games, because Special Chronicles will be on location in Minnesota, visit specialchronicles.com/2026 USA Games. That's specialchronicles.com/2026 USA Games, or scan that QR code right above it if you're watching on the YouTube, or in the description below. And make sure to follow on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. It goes a long ways and really helps to let more people know about this series and this program. So let's jump right in and celebrate the competitive, unified cheerleaders who make inclusion possible. And please put your virtual hands together as we welcome Erin, Libby, and Marian. I hope I got their names correct. Welcome to Special Chronicles. Welcome.
We're glad to be here.
Yeah, I know. I was so sorry. We didn't have a lot of show prep as we usually do. So usually I usually have time to look over who the guest is and the script and everything. And so I hope that at least you guys had time to prepare. So with that, you guys are the second unified cheer team that we're featuring on this series, as we had on this World 2 Special Olympics USA Games happening in Minnesota. For those of you tuning in, happening the 20th to the 26th of June in Minnesota. Can you, each of you, introduce yourselves, what state Special Olympics program you're from, and your role on the unified cheer team? We'll start from, let's go left to right. Well, I guess it's my left to right. I don't, whichever left to right is for you guys.
My name is Erin Davis. I am from Team Mississippi, and this will be my first year traveling to national games, and we are super excited for this opportunity.
Awesome.
My name is Libby Cheney. And I'm Team Mississippi, and this is my first year traveling with the nationals.
Perfect. Awesome.
My name is Marian Lynch. I'm Team Mississippi, and this is my first year traveling to nationals.
Awesome. So let's not dive into your team's origin story. Because I'm sure each team has a different way, and I know competitive cheerleading and even unified cheer within Special Olympics is new. I think this might be the second time at the USA at the national level, and so share with us. And Coach Erin, you can begin, and then if Libby and Marian, if you guys want to kind of give your perspectives as well to how did your school even begin a unified cheer team?
Right. Our first year was in 2017. We traveled to state and we competed every year. Of course, COVID kind of put a dent in those first 2 or 3 years there. But starting in 2017, we've had a unified team ever since. And when we go to state, we've always won gold. So we're very proud of our girls. And we've had several athletes and partners that have stayed with us the entire time. And we've had some that come and go, which is okay. They try different activities and different sports, but the majority of them have stayed with us. So this, like I said, it will be our first opportunity to go to nationals. So we are all just tickled pink to get the opportunity to go to represent our state and our community.
Awesome. And Libby and Marian, do you want to share how you both got started in a unified cheer?
I can.
You got it.
Just one day, they just texted me and asked me if I was interested in doing cheer, and I said yes, please. Love to.
And Marian, was it a similar for you to be a unified partner?
Kind of. So like during our school cheer, it was my 8th grade or 9th grade year. There was a girl on my school cheer team who had gotten into a side-by-side accident and had a traumatic brain injury. And then kind of after that, whenever she started going to Special Olympics, a bunch of us kind of got together and we started going and helping, and I've been doing it ever since. So.
Awesome. Yeah, I know when I probably dating myself, but when I was your age in high school, we really didn't have unified sports in school. So it's awesome that your generation has that opportunity. Let's now dive into this unified partnership, this team culture that your team and that you guys already championing at your school, and now in just a few days from the time that we're recording this, we'll be traveling to Minnesota for the national level, the USA Games. How would you describe this partnership between athletes and unified partners? So for Abby, yourself as an athlete, for Marian, yourself as a unified partner, how would you all describe this partnership that you have built between athletes and unified partners with your unified cheer team?
I think we built this team like with respect for each other, trust, kindness, just pushing each other to do their very best, and also creating a inclusive environment where everyone feels valued and supported. So.
Awesome. Libby and Erin, did you want to add on to that, or? Because I got to. All right. Awesome. So. Marian, I know this is probably all your first times on a podcast, but it makes for a perfect transition to this next kind of topic that builds upon how you just talked about how you build trust, you are building kindness, inclusive, and respect. Those are a lot of the same values, but talk about and all three of you can talk about this, the values that guide your team both on the mat as well as off the mat as well. What are the values that guide your unified cheer team?
I think the girls truly love and respect each other on and off the mat. I see a lot of like the chatting and stuff off the mat, and I know they do things all outside. They go to the water park. They do things where it's just the girls without the coaches. And I know like when we are all together, I feel like we're a unit, like we're a team. We love each other. We lift each other's up. We see when they're having a good day or having a bad day, and we're around each other enough. We know, hey, so-and-so's off, and that's okay. We're going to give her a hug, and we're going to keep moving forward for what's best for all of us. But the love and support that they have for one another it's remarkable. It's amazing. And to see their confidence grow from the very beginning when we started practice to now, like their confidence and their security in each other has just grown so much.
Awesome. Yeah, that's going to be so powerful for people to see just the power of unified sports and with this unified cheer team. I know during the 50th anniversary for Special Olympics that happened here in Chicago, because that's where the first international games took place, at the Unified Football or Soccer Cup. So my mom and I were, which my mom's traveling with me to Minnesota, but we were up in the press box, and something that my mom had said, and this is probably one of the first times actually seeing a unified competition, and I'm sure the same thing can apply to cheer as football or soccer. And so my mom was saying that she couldn't tell the difference between an athlete and a unified partner on the soccer field. I'm sure have you guys seen the same thing with unified cheer, that and healing from family, healing from friends that come to your, I don't do you call them you think I will know the correct terms for my content producer, but she didn't clue me in. She'll know to clue me in, but no, she's awesome. She's awesome. I couldn't do this without the support of my content producer. But is it a game or match, or I don't know what exactly you guys call it, but do you guys, it's a match?
It's like a competition.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So with the competition, do you guys, I forgot where I was, I went so off off topic that I forgot where the question was, but I'll steer it back to something that you said, building upon Marian, what you said about that inclusive and kindness and respect. So being upon that, the inclusive part of the values that you just talked about, can you each share a moment, and maybe share, people love podcasts on stories. So can you share a moment or a story of when you felt inclusion come alive with your unified cheer team?
I think one moment or one competition that really stood out for me, I think it was in Camp Shelby. I think that's where we went, and we were all under the big pavilion thing, and we were about to perform, and just everybody getting together and dancing and having a good time, and everybody's cheering everyone on. It doesn't even really matter what place you get. Everybody's rooting for everybody. So I think that's just really
awesome. And Libby and Erin, do you guys have a moment of inclusion or a story that you felt inclusion come alive?
This is my first time ever doing cheer. I've never done it in school or down here, but I do love to do it. I'm very glad to do it here.
Awesome.
I love hanging out with all these people and doing it.
and so you guys are going to be spending a lot of time together over the next week. So Erin, is there a particular inclusion moment that or story that you felt that inclusion really comes alive?
Yes, sir. I had one that was a personal experience for me. I have two sons that are special needs, and we had an awards program at school, and my oldest one was able to get an award, and he was so proud of himself, and God love his soul, he tripped going up the bleachers. And my first thought was, oh no, he's what did he break a bone or something? No, everybody got up and clapped and cheered for him. And he didn't even realize he had even stumbled. But as a parent, I was like, oh no, is he okay? But he didn't even realize he had messed up. But it was that they didn't see his flaws. They didn't see the hiccup. They saw the person. And that's what I was like, oh my goodness, their hearts are so big and full, and they just show him so much love. And it made everything so good for him, and he didn't feel excluded in that.
Awesome. And that, so for all those stories that you all shared, Marian, Libby, Erin, I think all listeners can really learn a lot from those, whether it's a small moment or a big moment or just an everyday moment of inclusion, building upon that unified partnership, building upon that team culture of inclusion, of respect, of kindness that you have built. That I'm sure that you bring that into your training, you build that into your preparation, you build that into your competition as you lead up to these Special Olympics USA Games in Minnesota, happening the 20th to the 26th of June 2026. Talk about and I think our listeners, maybe if they listen very closely, they could probably hear some of that unified cheer practice happening in the background. I'm assuming that's what it was. Seeing that we are, from the time we're recording this, 4 days from all flying to Minnesota.
Yes.
And so I know my team Illinois is taking a coach bus, but my mom and I are flying. So yeah, most of us will be flying there. If you fly on United Airlines, I don't know if you guys are flying on United, but maybe. Okay, yeah. So I'm one of the first athletes that United hired, and there's an article that I wrote on how to take an accessible trip to Minneapolis. So if you're looking for stuff to do outside of the competition in Minneapolis, you can. I think that is featured on the flight. I don't know, the in-flight team didn't tell me that, but if it is, take a picture of it and you can read it. And so, building upon that unified team culture, talk to our listeners about what a typical practice looks like with your unified cheer squad.
I think it's just like everybody comes in, they're working hard. Everybody is working towards the same goals. Like, it's not a competition. Everybody works together pretty well, and just like seeing the confidence that we're building and how everybody's encouraging and supporting. And it's just great. It's
Awesome. And Libby or Erin, did you guys want to comment on what a typical practice looks like?
And I would basically say everything she just said. And I don't think.
Awesome. So I had I know if you guys saw the movie, the Peanut Butter Falcon that came out quite a few years ago, but I talked with the co-directors, the two filmmakers who directed and wrote that movie, and they, at the end, which I'm going to ask you guys the same question about defining inclusion at the end of the episode, but the one filmmaker answered, and then the other director of the movie had said the same thing that you Libby said, had just said, oh, I'm going to say the same answer. So awesome. So you guys, just like a couple of Hollywood directors, the same type of unified answer. There's a lot of skills and strengths that go into any competition, whether it's like for myself in Special Olympics, I compete in basketball and bocce, not in Minnesota, but at the local level in Illinois. But just like whether it's basketball or bocce or swimming, or same thing with unified cheer, I'm sure there's a lot of skills and strength that you develop. So talk to our listeners in particular about, and I think I don't, yeah, okay. I don't know if I'm frozen or not, but you guys all can still hear me, right?
We can hear you.
Yes, sir.
So talk about the skills or strengths that make your unified cheer team unique. What's some of the skills or strengths that makes your team unique?
What makes our team unique is when we hard, and when we are always supporting each other.
Awesome. And Marian or Aaron, are there any skills or strength that you feel that in addition to what Libby said that makes your team unique, that's going to set your like just like I talked with the coach from the Special Olympics Oklahoma team, and so is there like when you're competing, whether it's Oklahoma or Iowa or other teams, is there any, in addition to what Libby said, is there any skills or strength that makes your team unique?
I think that like everybody has their own strength and ability to do. Like there's some girls on the team that are strong enough to hold girls up in a stunt and make them feel comfortable while they're in the air and secure. And I think that without those people, like you wouldn't have a stunt group or like something to show in the air or something like that. And then you also have you have some girls that like to goof off, and then you have the ones that are trying to stay serious and stuff. So it just all makes like every practice is just fun and everything like that.
Awesome. And so I'm sure those the competition experience, whether it's a people without disabilities, like if you're not on a unified team, just on a regular team, or whether Libby, you're on a cheer team of just Special Olympics athletes, I'm sure each of those probably have their own experiences. But talk to our listeners about, since this is a interscholastic division of competitive cheer, that's the teams that are part of the Unified Champion Schools programs that are all competing in competitive cheer. So what's it like to compete in this interscholastic division of competitive cheer?
We have competed at the state level with the Unified, and several years ago, before we did Unified, we did traditional cheer. But once we've started with Unified, we've stuck with Unified. But we've never done the national level, so we've never been into this category. So we're a little nervous and anxious, but we're more excited than we are anything, for sure.
Awesome, and I'm sure you all are going to have a lot of stories to share. Hopefully, if I am able to make it over to the cheer, which when we're off air, I'll ask you, Erin, what times you guys are competing, and so hopefully I'll be able to come, because we'll be doing like just some short 2 to 3 minute interviews on site in Minnesota, and so hopefully we'll hopefully, since you guys are coming on now in this kind of pre-games, hopefully we can talk again for 2 or 3 minutes after your competition. So bearing this as we kind of wrap up this training, preparation, and competition before we get to the final questions on the road to the 2026 USA Games. For you, Erin, talk from a coach perspective. What is it like to build? Talk about your approach to building a unified team culture, because Marian and Libby talked about their like, I'm sure their responses can probably just stand by itself without you giving the coach's perspective. But from your coach's perspective, talk to our listeners about your approach to building a unified team culture.
We try to go first in hand what girls are going to feel the most comfortable traveling and being far away from their parents and their family, because it is a long trip for sure. But that was one of the first things we talked about when we were looking at building our team. And then next is just their sportsmanship and the way they carry their self, and how they treat other people. That was also a big play when we were looking at the teams and the ones that qualified. It was not an easy decision to knock out or, to kind of whatever, to narrow the list down. But we try to do that with the ones that were the most qualified and the ones that had put in the most time and the most work into Special Olympics, whether that be cheer or another event that they had chosen to do. So I did not do it by myself. There were several of us on the on that committee. So our head coach is Sabrina Spoon, and she's done phenomenal with all of it. She's just not, she doesn't like talking when I get that. So she was like, hey, will you do this? I was like, yeah, sure. I'll help out. And then I got into it. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm doing this. So I am just doing the best that I possibly can. But like I said, we did not do this alone. Sabrina and Renee have done phenomenal. Renee Hilton and Sabrina Spoon has done it from the ground up. She's the one that started our unified team here at our schools. And she's been doing it for over 10 years, but she's the backbone for sure.
And they're also going to be joining you with coaching in Minnesota?
Yes. Sabrina's our head coach.
Awesome. Before we get to the final couple of segments, Libby and Marian, if you could maybe, and I know one word might be a little difficult, so I'll give you, 1, 2, 3 words, but in 1, 2 or 3 at the most, but try 1. How would you describe Coach Erin as her approach in building a unified team culture? How would you describe Coach Erin? I know I'm didn't give you guys time to prep this question, but how would you describe Coach Erin? I know she's sitting right next to you guys.
You can go first.
I'd describe her as hardworking, sweet. She gets us to get out of our comfort zone. And I could name a bunch of more.
Awesome. And Marian, how would you describe Coach
If I
Erin?
had to describe her in one word, it would be helpful.
Awesome. Okay, awesome. So as we are now full, about from the time we're recording this, 4 days. By the time our listeners hear this, the opening ceremony would have just taken place a day or 2 before. And so I know that's, I don't know if you guys heard about the opening acts for the opening ceremony. I think Demi Lovato, John Batiste.
Yes, I read
Yeah. So, and somewhat, I think the local organizing committee, the LLC, posted, I think, back at the last time that actually, I think they said USA Games, but it was actually in 1991 something. It was actually the Road Games that took place, because my girlfriend, who's an athlete, competed at the very first USA Games, which took place in 2006. So the last time it was actually the international games that took place in Minnesota. But Prince actually had performed at those games in the past. So yeah, so getting some high profile people. I know in 2022 in Orlando, they had Disney characters that were the entertainment. Probably makes sense. So with that, as we talk to our listeners, you talked about that you're going to be representing your team. I just realized I might have put in the I'm using the same guided notes for Team Oklahoma. So I just realized, so hopefully you guys know that I'm not asking you on your emotions for representing Oklahoma when you're from Mississippi. So we're gonna just scratch that wrong state there. But talk to our listeners about. I'm sure there's a lot of emotions that are going on right now for you. Talk to our listeners about what's it like representing Mississippi, your state, your local program, Special Olympics Mississippi, at these 2026 USA Games. What does representing your state program mean to you?
I think representing Mississippi is just such an honor. It's so much fun, and going to all the events that they have and stuff like that. And it's just very, it's just my favorite thing to do.
Awesome. And Libby and Erin, what does representing Special Olympics Mississippi mean to you?
It is very rewarding. It is very exciting. It is very fun. And it is also my favorite thing to do.
Awesome. And Erin?
Yes, I'm going to bounce off what Marian said. It is an honor for sure. It's an honor to get to be chosen and represent not only our community and our family, but our state on a national level. So it is for sure an honor. And it's a blessing to get this opportunity to do.
Awesome. And I'm sure that you all probably have set goals for yourself. I know when I just yesterday talked with Team Mississippi's Unified Cheer Team coach, talked about how they are right in at the end of their practices, they all write in journals and keep journals. So I don't know if that's. Hopefully, I'm not giving any secrets away from other teams. Maybe that's the last time that different teams will want to come on this program. But with that, talk to our listeners about the goals that you have set for yourselves. If you want to mention a team goal, you can do that. But for each of you individually, what goals have you set for yourself as you prepare for these 2026 Special Olympics USA Games?
Our goal, I would say, is to build our team, our confidence in our girls, and to let them know that they're not alone. It doesn't matter where they come from, what they did. Together, we're one, and we're going to do it together, and we're going to have fun, and we're going to support each other for sure.
Awesome. And then Abby and Marian, do you have any individual goals for yourself as you compete at the Special Olympics USA Games? Do you have any individual goals?
To just work on what I just need to work on.
Awesome. And Marian, do you have any individual goals?
Not really personal, but like as a team, like bringing people out of their comfort zone and just really coming out of their shell and just working hard so they can pick up their trophy in the end.
Awesome. Yeah. Or there'll probably be like a unified medal, which I'm sure as you guys probably know in Special Olympics, it doesn't really matter what medal you get. It's just a matter that you're brave in the attempt and that you have fun. But I'm sure it'd be nice, like even if you guys did get a medal, whether it's a gold, silver, bronze, fourth place, fifth place. So you talked about representing your community, representing your school, representing your state program, Special Olympics in Mississippi. Talk to our listeners about that community support. How is your school? I know it's probably summertime now, so maybe
Yes.
summer school or just school overall. So how is your school? How is your community in Mississippi supported your journey to these Special Olympics USA Games?
They've supported us from the very beginning. When we found out we were qualified, we wanted to scream it from the mountains because we were so excited that we were able to get to go. Because like I said, this is the first time, but it's also the first time in history our area in the state has had a cheer team to get to go. So that was even a bigger accomplishment. And our girls here in our community that we've never sent girls to nationals with Special Olympics. So it was a huge honor to get to do that with our area and with our state.
Awesome. So what it's not only is it the first Special Olympics or the first unified team to make it to the national level, but even just cheerleading overall in Mississippi, it's the first.
There was a team ahead of us that went. We're the second team to represent Mississippi, but we're the first one in our area because each area is a different part in the state. But we're the first one in our area.
Okay. Awesome.
Yes.
I don't know and it's okay if you guys don't. Libby or Marian, do you guys want to comment on how your school, community, your towns have? Oh, even your families supporting you.
I think everybody in the community has helped, like getting stuff together to go and stuff like that. And then my parents have really helped me, and they're always showing up for me and everybody on my team, and it's just really great.
Awesome. So right before we get to the last few closing thoughts, we dive just briefly into your personal stories and the impact. How has being a part of Unified Champion Schools, because there's a lot of schools now in 2026 that have been a part of Unified Champion Schools, but there's probably still some other schools that are not part of Unified Champion Schools. So talk to our listeners about this particular life change of what it means and how is being part of Unified Champion Schools changed your lives. How has being a part of Unified Champion Schools changed each of your lives? Marian as a Unified partner, Libby, you as an athlete, and you as a coach. How has being a part of Unified Champion Schools changed each of your lives?
It has changed my life with just like helping and like really just like standing up for the people like at my school or anywhere, and it's pushed me to go on to college to become a special education teacher. So that's really rewarding for me. So
Awesome. And Libby and Erin?
It has changed my life. It has taught me that I can do hard things, and if I ever fall, I can get back up and for me to help other people.
Awesome. And Erin, do you have a way of how you being part of Unified Champion Schools has changed your life as a coach?
Yes, it's opened so many different doors for me personally and professionally. Personally, with my children, I've got special needs children. It has opened tremendous doors for them, and they're able to go and have friends and to be included. And it doesn't matter where they come from, or what you go home to. That everybody's friends, everybody loves each other, and everybody's supportive of each other.
Awesome. I'm sure it might be difficult to pick a favorite memory, but what's your share with our listeners just a brief favorite memory from cheering together, and particularly cheering together on a unified cheer team. Do you all have a favorite moment? And I'm sure you guys are going to get some favorite moments in Minnesota at the USA Games, but up to this year, because I'm sure if I get a chance to talk to you guys in Minnesota, I'm sure there might be some favorite moments there as well. But leading up to these USA Games, do you have a favorite moment from cheering together?
The one that keeps standing out to me is one of the first few practices we had. We had it at one of our local community colleges, and one of our coaches got lost. And she thought she was really lost, but she really wasn't. She was like 2 streets over. And it was funny because she was fixing to cancel practice because she was like, I can't find you, anywhere. But it was funny because she couldn't find us even though she was right on top of us. So that was the funny, and the girls got a big kick out of that. That was one of the ones that could stick out to me the most.
Awesome. Yeah, no.
It's silly, but
well, yeah, awesome. Sorry, something just popped up on some camera popped up on my iPad. Anyways, Libby and Marian, do you guys have a favorite memory from cheering together?
Working together.
Awesome.
I think my favorite memory, recent memory, I guess. Well, we were at practice, it was a couple weeks ago maybe, and Libby was nervous for her lib, and she just kept going it over and over and over and over, and she was nervous, and everybody was sitting around like, you got it, Libby, just supporting her and encouraging her, and she got it, and she has it. So that's probably my favorite memory.
Awesome. Now I know the past 39, almost 40 minutes have just flown by. Looking for online can't help these plain analogies flown by. But with that, is there anyone that each of you want to thank or shout out? And hopefully you guys will be able, whether it's the video podcast, whether it's the audio podcast on specialchronicles.com or Apple or Spotify or you all can share this episode and tell them to listen to the whole episode, or just fast forward to 39 minutes into the episode and hear their shout out. Is there anyone that all three of you want to thank or shout out in particular as you are leading up to the Special Olympics USA Games?
First off, we want to thank our Lord and Savior, because none of us would be here without him. And then we want to thank our families and our community, because they have stood beside us. They have cheered us on through all of it, and our coaches, all of the people at Jackson that has supported us and helped, made sure we had our uniforms on time and made sure we had our plane tickets and did all the minor details that sometimes we see unseen. So we definitely want to thank those people, but also, like I said previously, Sabrina Spoon is our head coach, and she does phenomenal. And also Renee Hilton, she is one of our directors for our area. They have both done above and beyond for our cheer team and for our state.
Awesome. And Libby and Marian, did you guys is there any, in addition to what Coach Erin said, is there any one that you guys want to thank or shout out?
Just definitely my family for being there and supporting me, and then just our schools, community, and just everybody that gets to come together and have fun.
Awesome. And Libby, is there anybody that you want to thank or shout out?
I would love to thank the coaches, Miss Erin, Miss Sabrina, Miss Renee, and them, and our family.
Awesome. So before we get to the final thoughts and the final question, where can our listeners follow your team's journey? I know that the Team Oklahoma said that they've got an Instagram, and so where can our listeners follow your journey? And when this episode goes live, I'll try to, if I remember, we'll try to make sure to tag your team when this episode goes live on Instagram. But where can our listeners follow your team's journey?
On Special Olympics Mississippi page, they've got a page for Team Mississippi.
Awesome. On Facebook. And are they on Instagram too, or just Facebook?
Yes, they're on both.
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to put up, for those of you watching the video on the YouTube, otherwise we'll, if I forget to put it in the description, we'll then just hear our voices and then just go to Instagram and Facebook, and then they can just do a search for Special Olympics Mississippi.
Perfect. Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So we'll make sure our listeners know that. And they can also, on the 2026 USA Games app, I believe that they can also follow the athletes, can follow Libby and Marian, and people can send cheers to the athletes. So awesome. Do you guys have any, before we get to the final question, do you have any final thoughts on your overall time here today on this Special Chronicles podcast series?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Awesome. So we got one final question, and because we of course want our listeners to learn from your story and hear about your journey with this unified cheer team, making it all the way to and getting selected for the USA Games. But even more than that, we want our listeners to learn from your story and have a call to action to bring inclusion into their towns, into their schools, into their workplaces, into their communities. And so, as you all know, the inclusion evolution is probably obvious with unified sports, but inclusion is also a big important part here on this program at Special Chronicles. And so, we got one final question, and we've got a bumper to introduce the final question. Let's go ahead and roll that bumper.
We're not just athletes.
We are the ambassadors of an uprising.
Peaceful protesters.
In a rebellion against anyone
who has a fear of difference.
Difference.
Our demands are
equality.
Dignity.
And the recognition of our shared humanity.
We will not stop
or accept anything less.
Today, our world is
more divided than ever.
And coming together has never been more urgent.
The revolution
is inclusion.
Find out more at jointherevolution.org.
So this final question that I've been asking ever since the 2019 World Games in Abu Dhabi, Whitty gets to the heart of the inclusion revolution, and Whitty can help to give our listeners a call to action on how to bring inclusion. And in fact, next month on the anniversary of Special Olympics on July 20th, I'm going to be editing all of the responses to this final question into a montage episode of all three of you and all the other guests on this series, both pre-games as well as on location in Minnesota, of all these different voices answering this final question. So it's going to be a powerful episode on July 20th to celebrate because there's no better way to celebrate this inclusion movement in Special Olympics than a montage episode of all these different voices answering this final question. So I'll ask, and you each can answer this. What message do you want your listeners to take away about inclusion, and what does the how of that question is, what does inclusion mean to you?
I would say inclusion doesn't see disability. It doesn't see, what color you are. It doesn't see if you're polka dotted. It doesn't matter. You're included, you're loved, you're supported, and no matter what decision that you make, there's somebody there for you. So like I said, inclusion doesn't see disability.
Awesome. Right before Libby and Marian, right before you both answer that question, I just have to pipe in because Coach Erin, I don't know if you I don't know how. Okay, there's probably no way that you all have listened to an episode of this podcast before it went live because it wasn't released to the public yet. But maybe unless you are following Special Chronicles on Instagram or Facebook, you may have seen if you're following us on Instagram, you may have seen a graphic. But one of the staff for Special Olympics Illinois, the way she answered was exactly how you answered about how.
Oh wow! How awesome!
So you know what? I'm gonna have to take that quote. But if you want to send me your headshot, I will. Add your name to that graphic because in 18 years of podcasting and asking that question the past 7-8 years, I don't believe anybody has answered the question in that same way.
That is so crazy. And I have a sign in my classroom that says that. So that is crazy.
You know what? I'm gonna try to let the staff person here in Special Olympics Illinois know that you answered the same way because I think we need to. I think Special Olympics, not just in Mississippi, not just in Illinois, but across the country, needs to start to use that phrase. Or some campaign with that phrase because that's just. When you said that, I was like, I had to pull it up on my phone because I was like, yeah, exactly. Perfect. Okay. So now our listeners are definitely on this series it's gonna be ingrained in them that inclusion doesn't see disability. So perfect. Okay. Sorry, I don't usually interrupt three guests, but Libby and Marian, do you all I don't know who wants to go first or who wants to go last, but how do you both define inclusion?
I think inclusion is when you include other people and just you include them in things. That's how I feel.
Awesome. And Marian, the final words of this episode?
Well, I don't know how I'm going to beat what Miss Erin said, but what it means to me is I think just everybody's equal. Mm-hmm. Nobody's different. And everybody's loved and supported and valued. So I just think what Miss Erin said.
Awesome. Yeah, that's honestly, that's probably nothing against Libby and Marian, your answers, but that's probably the perfect. If there was, there's probably no perfect answer, but if there was to be a perfect answer, that would probably be pretty high.
Yeah.
So thank you all. I know we've gone about 49, almost 50 minutes now. So thank you all for taking the time to on this Monday evening. I know we all are gonna in the next couple of minutes gonna stop recording and all go and pack for Minnesota. So looking forward to hopefully seeing you all up in the Twin Cities, up in Minnesota for these Special Olympics USA Games. Thank you all for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And our guests on this program, on this Road to Special Olympics USA Games Special Chronicles Podcast Series, have been Coach Erin, Libby, an athlete, and Marian, a unified partner from the Special Olympics Mississippi Unified Cheer Team. Thank you all for being on, and that's a wrap on this episode of Road to Special Olympics 2026 USA Games, a Special Chronicles podcast series. A huge thank you to our guests, Coach Erin, Libby, a Special Olympics Mississippi athlete, and Marian, a unified partner from calling in all the way from Special Olympics Mississippi's Interscholastic Division of Competitive Cheer, for sharing their stories, sharing their teamwork, and their passion for inclusion, and if I have to say, the perfect answer to defining inclusion. I think we're gonna have to put that as.
I have to say, I tell my kids that all.
We're gonna have to edit that clip out and share that all over the social media.
Oh no, that's not necessary. You don't have to do all that.
Okay. If you want to follow these athletes, Erin and Marian, and the more than 3,000 athletes on their journey to the Special Olympics USA Games, download the 2026 Special Olympics USA Games. Just search USA Games in the iPhone or Android app stores. Send us some cheers, and you can follow this full podcast series and stay connected to everything leading up to and on the ground at the 2026 USA Games. Visit specialchronicles.com/2026 USA Games. That's specialchronicles.com/2026 USA Games. So scan that QR code if you're watching on the YouTube, or click the link in the description below. And until next time, let's keep celebrating the volunteers, the athletes, the unified partners, the coaches, all who make inclusion possible in this inclusion movement of Special Olympics. I'll see you on the next episode, and I will see Erin, Libby, and Marian in Minnesota. And until then, remember, choose to include. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Special Chronicles podcast. Our podcast was produced by Daniel Smrokowski on the Special Chronicles Network. Follow Special Chronicles on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Subscribe, rate, and review Special Chronicles on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Our website, specialchronicles.com, where you can stream our archives of over 500 episodes absolutely for free. Also, there's a list of our favorites, original series, award-winning columns, and blogs. And sign up for our newsletter to receive exclusive bonus content delivered to your inbox. Again, specialchronicles.com. Special Chronicles is hosted by Podbean Podcast Hosting. Our live streams are powered by StreamYard. Thanks as always to our business manager, Daniel Smrokowski, who always encourages us to never give up. I'm Daniel Smrokowski, back next week with more stories.
Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.